All right, we're just going to jump in. We're just going to jump in and record and hope I remember how to do this. Greetings! You are listening to the RF Fitness Podcast brought to you by rffitness.net. This is the show where I yell about fitness, fatherhood, fantasy gaming, and everything else in between. And I'm your host, Rob Finlayson, certified elder brother, fitness coach, and soldier in the war on Christmas and not on Santa's side. This episode is going to be the holiday gift-giving fitness edition. Now, I do want to give a caveat at the very top here. If you've listened to the show before or know me, you probably know that I hate Christmas very much. And a big reason for that is because of just how disgustingly commercialized it is and how not fun it makes everything. It's all just seeped all the way through with capitalism. And again, if you've listened to the show at all, you've heard my rants about that. So first and foremost, the main guide piece of advice here is don't buy anything. Don't buy anything from Target or Amazon or Spotify, Home Depot, whatever. All these, the $1 billion, the ones, right? Target and Amazon are the big ones, especially for gift giving guys. Don't buy anything from them at the very least until after Cyber Monday. That's when they're doing their big sales and all that stuff. But that's kind of the point, right? Is that we're part of the movement here is that we're trying to like bleed the beast a little bit. So if you buy anything at all from them during this holiday season, do it outside of the other normal times. What I do highly, highly recommend is that you look at your local secondhand stores, thrift shops. eBay is great. Craigslist is great. It's not sketchy anymore. I am of an age as a millennial. I remember when Craigslist was the height of sketchiness on the internet. It's actually pretty nice there now. It's gone like the opposite of Facebook. It just got better with time. Speaking of Facebook, actually, Facebook Marketplace is a really good spot to look for a lot of this stuff, especially because it's fitness-related things. Surprise, surprise, I find myself looking at Facebook Marketplace a lot for fitness equipment. There's a surprisingly good selection for pretty good prices. The big counter on that one is that you usually have to travel a little bit to go pick it up. So, if you're buying a gift for someone, it might not be the most timely way to get after it, but sometimes you get lucky, and I highly recommend looking at it. And there are lots and lots of options. So let's take a peek at what some of the recommendations are. So one of the big main questions I usually get with people when they're new to coaching or to being coached, I should say, to working out is like, where do I start? What do I need? Right. And I definitely preach a lot about minimalist training and using as little as possible. And obviously, like I said, bleeding the beast and not participating in the answers to buy something sort of mentality. But the fact of the matter is, like, you do need something, right? Especially if you're just now starting out. There's a few things, some few essentials. And I want to go over those today. And a few nice to haves. And I want to go over those as well. So one thing that I always recommend to people is like a yoga mat or some puzzle mats. These are things you can get pretty much anywhere. Again, Target and Amazon have them. That's it. Target and Amazon have them. I'm not sure if I would buy a used yoga mat from Facebook Marketplace personally. That's maybe a line I don't want to. That feels a little bit like buying like underwear, like technically I know you can wash it, but like, can you wash it enough? Like, I've sweat on yoga mats and wiped it down and been like, I would want to lay on that later, and then just hang it up back at the gym. Those things are gross. Puzzle mats are like the interlocking square mats that have like the puzzle edges to them, so you can kind of jigsaw them together. Those are really nice if you have like a larger space or you're not just doing yoga or you want a little more padding underneath your feet. Like, for instance, I work out in bare feet, so having something with a bit more cushion underneath me is really nice because I'm not going to wear shoes in my basement. That just feels weird for some reason to me. Next piece is an ab wheel. You can almost definitely find an ab wheel at Goodwill or your thrift store, whatever. You can probably make one super cheap. You can almost definitely find them on Facebook Marketplace again, really, really cheap. Even if you buy one brand new from like Dick's or something like that, it's not going to run you more than like $25. If you buy an Abboy for $25, I would say you overpaid for that piece of equipment. It's just a plastic circle with a rod through it, but this is a really cheap piece. It's one of the few pieces of workout fitness equipment that I recommend for home gyms that does exactly one thing, but it does it really, really well. It just absolutely shreds up your entire rectus abdominis. Rectus, I hardly even know us. So yeah, look for those. Liquid chalk. This is one, if you're looking to get something for the lifter in your life, I highly recommend liquid chalk. I've gotten this for myself. I've gotten this for clients as a little gift, as a little stocking stuffer. It makes a huge difference, especially with all the kettlebell work that I do, with the kettlebell work that my clients do. Even if you're not doing kettlebell stuff, so general weightlifting, dumbbells, barbells, especially. It's climbers love this stuff, man. It's super clean. It doesn't make a huge mess like brick chalk does. It still gets the job done. I think it's like the formula is basically just like hand sanitizer material with like some kind of grit mixed in, maybe just regular chalk. But you can get like a year's supply for about 15, $20 again on Amazon. Gross. That's one where I don't think you're probably going to be able to find it anywhere else except for like a specialty store like Dick's or something. Or you go to Amazon or Target.com if you must. Speaking of those, now we'll get to some stuff that you can find a little bit more anywhere. Dumbbells, a pair of dumbbells. You can find. You want to talk about what you can find on Facebook Marketplace, dude. People are unloading their dumbbells in just enormous amounts with egregious cuts to what the original value price is. I would say grab a pair for you or the fitness person in your life. I'd say grab a pair if you can, and they should be between 10 and 20, maybe 25 pounds each, because that's a really good starting set that you can get a lot done with. And there's plenty of, especially if you're getting like a 20s, there's lots of room to grow there, especially for a beginner worker outer home gymmer. You know, you can do a lot with a pair of 20-pound dumbbells. A dead ball or a medicine ball. So we all probably are familiar with the medicine ball. What that is, it's like this big, heavy ball. But there are a couple different kinds out there. There are the really big, like oversized, like vinyl material, like CrossFit medicine balls. Those ones are okay. I think for home use, you probably want something that's more like a dead ball, and that's usually a smaller ball, about the size of a bowling ball, maybe larger depending on the weight. They are also usually made in plastic or vinyl, and they're filled with like a sand, and it's called a dead ball because it's a dead weight ball. It does not bounce when you throw it on the floor, and that's the big thing, that it does not bounce, because we also have a lot of medicine balls that are stiff rubber, and those are just like heavy basketballs. And those definitely have their place, but for the kind of training that I do and that I put my clients through, that I have the most experience with, I just see people bounce them up into their face an awful lot, and it's just not really doing anyone any favors. But the dead balls, you can slam it, you can use it with core, you can use it for full body stuff. There's a bazillion free workouts you can find on the internet with a medicine ball that you can do with a dead ball. But the stuff that you can do with a dead ball that you can't do with some of these other ones, and mostly that's throwing it with reckless abandon and not having to worry about injuring yourself on the rebound. Foam rollers are a really good option. This would be one for someone who already works out a bit and needs something to add to their collection. You can probably find these on secondhand. You're definitely going to find them if you go into, again, like a specialty store. I'm trying to say specialty store, so we're staying away from Target, right? Or Walmart. Things to look out for with foam rollers. You want a high density foam. Sometimes you get a foam roller that's like really soft and squishy, and that seems like it's going to be more beginner friendly, but what it really is actually functionally worthless, because the foam roller needs to be stiff enough to really push back on you when you roll over with whatever muscle group you're trying to mobilize with, be it your legs or your back or your butt, whatever. If it's too soft, you're not going to get any of that return pressure. And then the point of what you're trying to do, which is to create pressure to release muscle fibrils, that's not going to happen with a too soft roller. When I first bought my first foam roller from Target, like 12 years ago, whatever, I remember I brought it out. I didn't know anything about them at the time. I rolled on it one time and it literally deflated like a balloon. And it was worthless. So that was like $20 I never got back. It's just kind of a worthless piece of shit after that. Just foam that goes in the garbage. You can't even recycle it, right? Sucks. Something that's a little bit surprising that I think would be good for a fitness person or for you, if you're looking for, if you give yourself a little gift, a sleep mask might be something that's worth investing in. Talk about cheap, talk about accessible, man. It does help your sleep to have the sleep mask. Unless you have like blackout curtains and you have no electronics whatsoever in your room where you sleep, in your sleeping space, sleep hygiene, recovery, mega important. And the evidence shows that a sleep mask does help with that, especially if you're someone who has trouble sleeping. I could do a whole episode about sleep and recovery. Maybe I will. Hell, this is the first and only episode of November so far, you guys. I need more content. I need to start doing this again. So sleep mask, really cheap. Stick that in a stocking stuffer. And you can get them with all kinds of fun designs with the little closed eyes on them. That's cute. You were waiting for me to say this one, weren't you? Kettlebells, fucking obviously. You can find roughly a bazillion, if I had to guess, roughly a bazillion kettlebells on Facebook Marketplace for a pretty deep price. What are you looking for in a kettlebell, though? You want it to be metal. You don't want a plastic kettlebell. You want it to be iron. There are steel ones, but that's for a kind of a steel competition style kettlebell. It's kind of a whole other animal. Usually what we do is looking for an iron or a cast iron or a powdered iron, a matte finish iron, single cast, drop cast. These are the kind of keywords we're looking for. Reputable brands, reputable makes, Rep Fitness, Rogue, Kettlebell Kings. You're probably not going to find too many Kettlebell Kings on like Facebook Marketplace, because chances are if someone's going to spend the time and money to buy one from KB Kings, they're not getting rid of them anytime soon. But Rep Fitness, like Yes4, number 4 all is another cheap one. Titan Fitness makes some okay ones. You can buy those honestly from the websites themselves. Usually pretty. Let me do this right now. Let's go. Let's check this out. Titan Fitness. Titan.fitness, official website. Shop weekly deals. Let's see. Racks, benches, bars, weights, specialty machines, more equipment. We'll look at prep and recovery. Oh man, they got a lot of stuff in here. A Roman chair back hyperextension for $234.97. That's actually not a bad deal. Search. Kettlebell. Throwing stuff. Okay. All right. So this is actually bringing up some good stuff for me. Sometimes you'll see these adjustable kettlebells. I'm not a huge fan of those just because of the shape of it. And the shape of it is like the issue I have with those is with the handlebar. And you're going to see this a lot too if you're looking up for like secondhand stuff. The handlebar shape does make an enormous difference. If the handle is overly smooth, like there's no texture at all to it, it's going to be hard to grip. If it is overly small, it's going to be hard to grip. And the angle of the horns, like it makes the handles of the kettlebell should make a very kind of soft triangular sort of shape. Maybe trapezoidal would be a better word for it. But you want the bend of the upward handles to be kind of gentle, rounded. If there's like an extreme point to them, obviously if it's like pointy, stay away from that. You're going to just straight up stab yourself. But if there's like a really wide handle, like it looks like it's built for like people are going to put 2 hands on this. It's probably going to be too wide for swings, which is like one of the main things we want kettlebells for. You want a tall handle, a tall window, we call it, the space between the handlebar and the body of the kettlebell itself. A large window, soft handle, thick handles. Here we go. LB cast iron kettlebells, KG cast iron kettlebells. You do what you like. I personally prefer kilograms because I'm a snob. We have a good starting weight, if we're doing for kilograms, would be somewhere between 10 and 20, maybe 10, 16 kilograms. That'd be between like 20-ish and 35-ish pounds. So I'd say if you're getting a kettlebell, look for like between 15 and 35 pounds if you've never used them before. You can kind of gauge your own level of fitness and preparedness here. If you're a regular lifter, you can probably go a little bit heavier if you're already fairly strong, or you know a little bit about kettlebells already. If you've used them in your gym before with me, certainly by the way that you're most used to. But let's see, so we're on Titan.fitness, and they're 16 kilogram, that's a 35 pounds, 16 kilogram kettlebell is $75, $74.97. And that's going to be plus shipping. So you do spend a bit on these, but now let's go to Facebook Marketplace and we'll search kettlebell 35 pounds. Oh, 35 lbw. That's not a word, Rob. Okay, we have kettlebells 35 pounds. Okay, now see, some of these, it's going to be, it says $15, but the listing is kettlebells 5 to 100 pounds available, St. Paul, Minnesota. So a lot of these big kettlebells that you're going to find, I'm spending a lot of time on kettlebells in this episode. Fucking shocker. Welcome to the show. A lot of these I've noticed are coming out of like wholesale dealers or gyms that are like going out of business or reducing or renewing their stock of equipment. So sometimes you get like whole sets. So it'll say like price 1, 2, 3. That's usually a sign to click through and see what they have on offer. Or if the price seems like weirdly low or absurdly high, like it's $9,999,999 for like the kettlebell in the picture is like 10 pounds, like something's weird here. Click through, they probably have a whole bunch to offer. So let's see, $15 kettlebells 5 through. All right, color coded kettlebells prices as follows. If we look at 35, they have it for $50. That's a good fucking deal. That's listed 2 weeks ago in St. Paul. They have like they said in the thing, 5 to 100 pounds, being sold by Giang Diep. So I'm gonna guess wholesaler. Some guy has a hookup for kettlebells, just selling them for less than $1 for about $1 a pound is like the best deal you'll ever find on these. Let's see. We have other ones. What do we got? Here's one. The listing just says kettlebells price $1,234. 1, 2, 3, 4. Click through. It's a guy with a handwritten note on a mirror. 6 kilograms for $26. If we say 16 kilograms, 35 pounds, $65. So this is a personal dealer. Looks like they're taking the picture from the inside of a gym. Like I said, they're probably updating or getting rid of their equipment, or they're downsizing, moving, whatever. Being sold by Courtney Unger. I know this person. Oh. I should buy their kettlebells. Courtney, if you're listening to the show, hit me up. I might buy some kettlebells from you sometime. But yeah, that's a really good way to do that. So obviously I'm a little bit biased on, I think kettlebells are the gift that keep on giving. Books are another great option. Lots of books. If you are someone who is interested in like learning more about fitness, I've had the question a few times, like, what are some books that like really mattered to me as a coach? The ones that really changed my game, that really, really exploded my brain, that I recommend to everyone for fitness is there's one called Becoming the Supple Leopard by Dr. Kelly Starrett. He's a great writer. The book is like a big textbook full of awesome pictures. It's a weird name, but like the sort of ethos behind it makes a lot of sense to me, especially. In the front of the book, they talk about like the ultimate functional athlete is a wild animal, like a jaguar or a leopard, right? And they can climb, they can run, they have crazy endurance, they are crazy strong, but they never work out, but they also never stretch. Normally what they're doing is either operating at peak capacity or sleeping, and there's not a whole lot that goes on in between. And the argument they're making is that human beings are mostly exist on that in-between spectrum. So we're not usually operating at full capacity or at full rest. And the sort of modalities and the practices and the way of looking at fitness and exercise that comes out of the book, Becoming a Supple Leopard, really starts to encourage a shift in perspective towards that. And then it's full of really great detailed movement demonstrations, like how to do a kettlebell get up, how to do a snatch with a barbell, kettlebell swings. The kettlebell swing one is okay. Deadlifts, squats, front squats, overhead press, bench press, push-ups, pull up, like every functional movement. Like it's a Dr. Kelly, he's made his name, I think, like in CrossFit circles. So it's a little bit more geared towards like those kind of movement patterns, but it's so detailed and it's so good. And the book is jam packed with like mobility stuff, flexibility, stretching techniques, mobilizing techniques, foam rolling stuff, how to stretch, like things I had never thought of before, using like resistance bands to do help out with stretches. That stuff changed my game. Like I can now at 38, I can drop and almost do the splits really without warming up. And I think a large part of that came from a lot of the practices that I started doing in my mid 20s, becoming the supple leopard. So check that one out if you're into books. Go to bookshop.org for those ones to get them mailed to your house. Obviously, don't go to Amazon. There's a million other places you can get books other than Amazon. But the other one that I really like was, oh my gosh, I'm gonna look it up right now. You guys love this content so much. It was the Sports Nutrition Handbook, I want to say. Something like that. Sports Nutrition. Oh, there it is. It's Nancy Clark's Sports Nutrition Guidebook by Human Kinetics. So Human Kinetics is a publishing company that publishes a lot of material that I wind up buying and using for my own certification courses, from my own continuing education credits, my CECs. But they have really good stuff. And Nancy Clark's Sports Nutrition Guidebook, even if you're not a sports nutritionist or an athlete, the way that she talks about nutrition in such an actionable intelligence sort of way. Like you can read 2 chapters of her book and walk away with stuff you can immediately start using. It's so useful. And again, it kind of changed the way I think about nutrition and how I look at it. And obviously it's for like a course that you take to become certified as a sports nutritionist, whatever. So there's like workups in there. There's like exercises and worksheets and case studies that can kind of walk yourself through. So if you are someone who is interested in maybe getting a better handle on your nutrition in a not bullshit way, like there's like Nancy, like this. When was this book published? Nancy Clark, MSRD, Masters of Science. RD is registered dietitian, so she basically has a PhD. Look, book interview. Boost energy, lose fat, build muscle, and improve your performance with the best-selling nutrition guide for active people in Nancy Clark's Sports Nutrition Guidebook. You'll get real-world advice from an internationally respected and trusted sports nutritionist. Blah, blah, blah. Latest information, research, circa 2013 is when it was originally good. So when I read it, it was pretty cutting edge, I guess. Let's see, get information on popular trends like keto and gluten-free diets, when and how much carbohydrates to eat, meal patterns that fit your training schedule, sustainability and digestive issues, stuff I don't usually think about, stuff you might not think about. You'll also find help for athletes or regular people with anorexia, binge eating disorders. You'll learn how to resolve confusion about what to do on a daily basis so that you can make healthy and informed dietary decisions for yourself and your busy family. That's incredible information. That's so powerful. In the book, I'm looking at it right now on thriftbooks.com, is $5.39. The fuck? Buy this book. It's less. I bought coffee today that was more expensive than that. It wasn't even good. Buy this book. And I think the last and most valuable thing I can recommend is personal coaching from me. Yeah, it's an ad. It was an ad the whole time, you guys. Coach Rob from RF Fitness. That's me. I haven't been on the show a whole lot often this month. I've been crazy busy where I'm working on hammering out some details for next year. I know I've mentioned that in a few past episodes. But I want to say that right now I am actively looking to increase my client load for RF Fitness. I'm kind of finding a balance right now with the new position here in the new year. Between Thanksgiving and the 21st of December, that's the winter solstice. So between Thanksgiving and winter solstice, you can get personal coaching online That includes the workout program, a weekly virtual session and or coaching call, a nutrition workup, access to the Discord, all that good stuff and more, which is normally $200 a month for the virtual stuff. You can get that for $150 on a monthly, or $420 for a 3-month contract, #BlazeIt, or $750 for a 6-month quest. Wow. And we can add 25% any of those for a hybrid plan, which would include a weekly in-person coaching session. So that's where I come to you in your house or a location of your choosing and actually do the in-person 3-dimensional face-to-face session. Those obviously tend to be a bit more valuable, and I have to drive places, hence the 25% add-on. And a big part of that is going to be like where you live at. If you're like more than 20 minutes away from me in any direction, I don't know, man. I got to really think about it. I found balance, but I still don't have a whole lot of free time. So working on that, guys. So yeah, check that out. Go to rffitness.net to learn more. Obviously, I know I keep saying it every single show, updating that. I was literally working on it yesterday. But yeah, I think I feel pretty good about this episode. I hope you do too. This has been the RF Fitness Podcast. Yeah, I'm available for online coaching. I literally just talked about it. To find out if it's right to you, you can head to rffitness.net. It's going to change soon. I just talked about that too. That's rffitness.net. Scroll all the way to the bottom of that green page to see the coaching that I offer, do the client application, hit join the party to jump into the community Discord server for free. The theme music, as ever, is Funk AF by Everett Ullman, distributed by YouTube Studios. Thanks for listening, guys. I hope to be back pretty soon with more episodes, but as always, keep questing.